Welcome to Pussy Protagonist. I'm your host, Isabel. This is the podcast show where we discuss about sex, sexuality, sexual desire through personal stories and personal experiences. Welcome to episode 2. I'm really excited to have you all back. Today's topic, I'm really excited to talk about, and I feel like everyone out there would be really interesting to hear, is virginity. It's just so funny to be able to openly talk about it, and I think we're gonna have so much fun today. And for those people I know out there, if you know me and if you hear this, I'm sorry, but we're doing this. Okay, so today I have another friend of mine who is going to be talking with us about this whole concept, this whole idea of virginity. So hi, Hannah.
Oh my god, hi.
Thanks for being in the show and supportive.
Oh my gosh, I am so honored to be here. I'm
Great.
Excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this with another human being who
Me too.
Yeah. And I know we have some juicy stuff.
We have some juicy stuff. Yeah, don't worry.
Stay with us, you all. Okay, so, I think when we talk about virginity, it all has to come with, let's just go with the basics. Okay. What is your own definition of, how do you define virginity of your own?
For me, virginity is really, the first time that I have sex with a new partner. I consider myself a virgin.
So you reset.
I reset every time.
You're like a video gamer. Yeah. I'm like, I'm reset. I'm back.
I'm reset. I'm back.
All new. Wow, that's really, I like that you're saying that, because you know how the society defines virginity. It's always like your ever first time that you have either sex or you're in an intimate relationship with another person.
Right.
But I'm glad that you brought up this idea that, and it's great that you define yourself, because sometimes we think that we have to follow what society taught us in a way of like, what is virginity? And
I agree. And I think we'll talk about this a little bit later too, but just the concept of saying losing your virginity, it really goes along with that idea of shaming women by being don't have sex because you only have your virginity once, and you're never gonna get it again. Right.
So it's this one time thing.
Right.
And like you said, maybe I should let you do that. I am a virgin every time.
Yeah, you should. It's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like I need to start thinking that. Yeah, we're gonna talk on the losing part a little later. It's too complicated.
Yeah.
But then how do you think, where and what taught you as a kid of the concept of virginity, books or movies? How do you find out virginity is a thing that people care?
I mean, even in middle school, I knew people who were 11 years old and were having sex. And at graduation, at my middle school graduation, a girl was 9 months pregnant and getting her diploma. 14? Yeah, 14 years old. So insane. And I think just in general, the media is really fond of being virginity is a good, respectful thing for a woman to have, and if she doesn't have her virginity, then she's a whore. But then also, if you're not a virgin, men will be oh, so you're easy. So there's really no way to win.
Right.
But, in general, I guess I'm just that's kind of what I was surrounded by.
Yeah, and I definitely think, a lot of, the movies or, the shows I watch growing up, they were always sex has to be, a post-marriage thing, and, or, they would be, a cult or whatever, and then they have to, sacrifice a virgin. And I think, that does a lot to people's mind in terms of it, it gives you that belief of, this is something that is, serious. It's,
Right.
And it just, I think it's, I know, history, people does that, but if you apply it to our lives right now, I don't think it maybe it's not really such a good thing to think about
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, again, the term
right.
losing your virginity
Right.
or taking away your virginity.
Right.
Like, yeah, I really wanted to ask, not just
Yeah.
you, but like, or at least personally, I have this question for just for so long.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we losing?
Right, exactly.
Or what are we winning?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Because the whole point is, like, for a long time, sex was really just for a man's, like, pleasure, and a woman was just, like, there to facilitate that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it feels like that concept of losing your virginity came from, just because
it's like
sex
someone take away something from you.
Even though sex is supposed to be for both of you.
I mean,
So,
it kind of has to be done.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's not sex if you're not both trying to make each other feel pleasure, you know? So, yeah, I just say you're making your sexual debut. It's like you're just getting it started.
Right. So, yeah, and I think, like, even when we're talking, like, in a day-to-day conversation, like, in a very casual way, we still say, like, oh, like, when do you lose your virginity? Like, how do you lose virginity?
Yeah.
And, like, if you think of the concept, it's like, wow, like, maybe we're not thinking of that, but in a way of, like, it traps you in the concept of, like, you are losing something, and something important from you has been taken away. And sometimes it is like that, but then a lot of time, we should be the one who decide if we, like, it's not even taken away. Like, sometimes we ask for it. We ask for that thing to come to us.
Exactly.
So I don't promote saying that.
Yeah.
And I do hope this is a changing thing that you know people could continue just to practice on saying that in a different way.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think another thing that connects with the idea of virginity is age.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely.
And again, like, the idea of, like, medias and movies. Do you think that age matters, and, like, again, when is your sexual debut? Do you think age, like, is a determination?
I mean, I'm not gonna, like, I think there is such thing as too young. Like I just said. Yeah. If you're 11 years old,
probably not.
Don't have sex. There are other things that you can be doing. And I think, you know, you should lose your virginity when it feels right and when it's with someone you want to have sex with. And that's always the rule. Have sex with someone you want to have sex with, you know?
So, yeah, I think, like you said, people are, like, not weird, but it's like, when you're too young, they don't want to do it. But also, if you're, like, in your 30s, and you're still a virgin, people still judge you by that. People are like, why have you never had sex? Is there a problem with you? Like, it just doesn't. It doesn't satisfy anyone. You know? Like,
no one is happy with that conversation.
Yeah, and I think they're definitely tied to this societal or, like, peer pressure. Even like in high school or in college, and, like, people around you start getting into relationship or, like, being, like, sexually active, and then it just feels like people are like, not you're a loser,
but there's something wrong with you.
Which sometimes people does shame themselves for like, but I'm a virgin, like, no one wants me, no one wants to have that intimacy with me, and so people, like, go and do it, which is good for them, but in a way of, like, do you do it that you actually want to do it, or you're just trying to prove
something to people who don't care and have nothing to do with it.
And so I think this is something to worth think
wow,
about
you're
it.
speaking to freshman year me right now.
I mean, freshman me, I mean, I haven't really think of the idea of virgin when I was in high school, because we're like, well, I wasn't really dating anyone, I guess my whole life I wasn't. I was never been in a relationship anyway, but, like, lately, as I started to become more sexually active and like started to think of, like, what I want as a woman, what my body wants as a woman, like, I definitely think, like, that's something that I'm like, maybe, like, age does do something to people.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like the idea of virginity has such strong bonded, and I'm not saying in a bad way, but woman.
Right.
And particularly why we, like, two women are sitting here having this conversation about virginity.
Right.
Yeah, so, do you think that women in the society has more pressure when talking about virginity and their body just even to themselves or to someone else?
Yeah, I think because I feel that women generally, like I said before, women get shamed whether they're a virgin or they're not. And I feel that, largely the conversation around virginity is targeted towards shaming women. Having said that, I do believe that men or people who identify as a different gender altogether, I think also face like a different kind of pressure, like in a different way. Just like with toxic masculinity, for example, like men are pressured by other men to be like, you're not a real man if you don't smash puss. So but you know what I'm saying, it's like a whole thing about proving yourself
exactly
in a different way.
Yeah. And I think it's like what you said, women, we can never satisfy other, and it's and we touched upon this on the last episode when I was talking with Brenda.
Oh my god, Brenda.
It's that Brenda, you're mentioned. Brenda. Anyways, it's like the idea of woman or the idea of virgin in woman.
Yeah.
It's something, it's a value of a person.
Yes, exactly.
It's, it has, you as a person needs to be pure and clean and innocent.
Yeah.
As a way it applies to your overall behavior, this represent you, your virginity defines you. And I think that is very scary to me. And so I have this thought, it's little Chinese lessons.
Okay.
So in Chinese, the word virgin, we call it 处女.
Okay.
And the word 女 is woman.
Okay.
And so I've been thinking about this. It's wow, this word, we have, back in the history, this word virgin literally directly ties to women. And now we say 处男, which is the male version. And it's a new word that we adopt as a society now.
Yeah.
But then if you think of it, when we're learning, when we're growing up, this word, it defines woman.
Yeah.
It's a behavior, it's something that women are tied for. And it's, specifically for me, because I'm Asian, I grew up in an Eastern society.
Right.
And for Chinese, I feel it's not as that serious, but you know how some Middle Eastern or Muslim, religiously, women, or in India, where your virginity is your worth, it's when women are married.
Right.
And then the family of the guys would be so is she a virgin?
Right.
And if she's not, then you get you as a person suddenly just you're
Well, don't they I heard in some places they'll check a woman's body.
Exactly. And I still think they do that. I hope it's not as people don't do it, but I think that concept, that mindset is still there. It's they're they
even
check.
If they don't do it still, the concept is still there.
Yes, even though they're I'm gonna check her hymen.
Right.
And again, it's having a layer of having a layer of a fucking hymen doesn't mean anything.
It's not a freshness.
Yeah, it's not a door to be open or anything. Yeah, and so it's just, I think for women especially, it's you were put in just a lot of pressure to be, judged, to be, think upon on that. And again, it's even though people in the society now, we don't do that. We don't, publicly judge you.
Yeah.
And I know some places that still does that. But in a sense of, I think women were trapped in the idea of virginity, and it stopped a lot of them from... pursuing their sexual need and sexual desire. Because as you said earlier, it's a lot of people, when people think about sex, it's you're satisfying a man's need. But then what about us?
Right.
What about us?
Women do have sexual desire.
Right, yeah. So do you think that like Western also share that commonality?
Yeah, I mean, I think even though it's a different part of the world, I think it might manifest a little bit differently, but the idea is still there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And do you think like this kind of situation has become better now? Like women would, like they wouldn't keep thinking like, oh, I need to be pure. I need to be a virgin, so someone would love me.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think it's better now?
I think publicly, our society is very much like, it is okay. Like, we are sexually liberated. And I do think that has gotten a lot better as time has moved on. But I think in our private lives, like parents and siblings and partners, I think it hasn't changed that much.
Right.
Just because it's one thing to like proclaim that you feel some type of way like out on Twitter, but then like when it's you and another person, I think it's a little bit different for people.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to think about. It's like, and maybe I do that too. Like, if it's just someone like out there I don't know, having that like I'm not a virgin, I'm like okay, fine. But if it's someone that like a family or a member, because that's why I like couldn't go to someone I'm really close to talk about it, is because even though we all know like we're living in more like sexual liberate places, but because you guys are so close, it's just so hard to be able to just open and like feel not judged. Yeah. And so I think it's time for us to get into some juicy stuff of like,
Let's
personal stories. I love that.
Let's do it.
So, I mean, Hannah.
Yeah.
When is that? Not exact. I don't need like the EST time, but like, when was your sexual debut? Like, how was the how was it?
How did it go down? Is that what you would like to know? All right. Mom, Dad, don't listen. They're not going to hear this, but just in case.
Yeah, just.
Well, okay, so what happened was I personally, like, never dated anyone, middle school, high school, never kissed anyone, ever, like, anything. And I felt really ashamed of it, as you do. And when I got to college, I tried to like meet people, but I was just like really nervous and like wasn't working out for me. And so when I was a sophomore, I was like, I'm just gonna lose my virginity because then that'll make my life easier.
That was what you were thinking at that time.
Right. That was my mindset. And so I went on Tinder, as you do, and
as I
decided I was going to lose my virginity to a 25-year-old man. And so he would do this fun thing where he would like take me out on dates and like pretend that he cared about me, but then he was like, JK, like I'm not like looking to commit or anything. And I was like, okay, that's manipulative.
That sounds like a lot of men out there on Tinder.
I'm sure everyone can relate. But so at the time I was so like, my mindset was like, I have to lose my virginity right now. And so I was like, okay, that's fine, even though I wasn't fine with it. And I continued to see him. And so it was Valentine's Day. And I went over to his house, and he got chocolates for me. And he was like, let's watch Coraline, because I've never seen it. And I was like, sure. And then
I mean, we know that we both know
we both know
movies, not the point. But yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, so we watched Coraline, and then afterwards we had sex. And I guess, while it was happening, it was less painful than I thought it was going to be, which was, thank God.
Right.
And
yeah, like was it under expectations?
I would say it was better than I was expecting it to be, especially because this was someone who like, I wasn't married to the man. I wasn't even dating the man. So I was like not expecting it to go as smoothly as it did. And I honestly, I just didn't feel much of anything. Like I didn't feel attraction or, overwhelming excitement or happiness. I mostly was just like, okay, it happened. I can stop worrying about it now. So, I mean, yeah, that was my first time.
And I think, well, because I like hearing. I'm not saying when I say I like hearing other people share their story about virginity, it's not like I'm trying to dig people's secret, totally, but it's just so different from everyone. And because I definitely have friends who is, who goes with like the traditional, like romantic, fucking candles and shit, and but then I hear your story, and it just makes me think like there are so many ways of how you can have your sexual debut, and the reason that I have you in the show, or want to have you talking with me today is also because I sort of share that experience. So it's my time.
We're kindred spirits.
So it's a little similar but a little different. But it was the past summer I was just really thinking of what I want and how I wanted to explore my sexual desire, but in a sense of I know I'm still a virgin. And I keep thinking that should I stop myself to do that just because I'm a virgin? Or I should just do it. In a sense that I want a lot of people out there knowing that if you value yourself as a virgin, whatever. Respect that. You do you. But as personally for me, I feel like the idea of virginity, it trapped me in a sense that because it has to be someone important, it has to be, committed. And that's why I can't do other stuff I want. But basically I also just I hang out, but I talked to this dude on Tinder this summer. We've been talking for a while. He was not in Taiwan the moment, but we've been talking for 2 months and stuff. And then he came back for a break. We catch up. We went to a bar, and we we're drunk and stuff. And then it kind of just happened. And the thing is, he doesn't know. I never told him.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It just happened. And I because it's interesting because people are like, but you've never done it. How do you know? And I also thought of that after a while. I was like, how did I know how to switch stuff up? And so so my point is maybe it doesn't really matter. I mean, I could told him, but he wouldn't react to anything. It doesn't matters to him. Or to me. The next morning I woke up and I was like, what did I just do? And it's not the reason I regret. It's not I did it or something, but in a way of I've been through a while, maybe even till today, I've been through a while, a stage of very serious self-shaming issues in terms of my decisions of who and how I share my virginity with, and especially if it's that person is not in a committed relationship with me, because I grow up being taught that it has to be someone that matters, someone who cares. But then now I look back and I was like, if I could do it better, I probably could. But it kind of just happened, and then it was good. The sex was good. Everything was good. He was all right. It was, we're not going to talk about that. But the sense of it wasn't that much of a big deal to me afterward it happened. So
I mean, when you think about it, people, sex is a normal thing that that people do, and
so normal.
So the fact that it's a big deal that your first time has to be with someone you're in a relationship with, why? You know what I'm saying?
And if you want that, like
you're
do it.
allowed
Yeah,
to
you're
want
allowed.
that.
Yeah.
But the fact
also,
that it's an expectation for everyone is not okay.
Yeah, and how do you know even if there is a person?
Right. What if you break up with that person?
Oh God,
then now you feel bad.
Yeah,
then you shouldn't feel bad.
Right.
You know?
Especially, we're at I feel like the society setting now is like, we're more able to explore our like sexualities and stuff, and like people, I'm not saying it's like people don't pursue for a committed relationship, but in a way of like it's a much more fluid thing. And so how do you incorporate virginity in that sense? I think it's just something,
Yes,
it has to be changed. Yeah. And so I think to like sort of close up. I love this discussion. It was so great.
It was so therapeutic.
Yeah, it is. What do you think that our society can do better in terms of like changing people's thoughts on, like people can be more open, more acceptable on talking on this topic?
I think what really needs to happen is like you said, even little things like stop saying losing your virginity and start saying like, if you're with someone, just be like, have you ever had sex before? And like I said, every time you have sex with a new person, it's a different experience. So like you just gotta like kind of go in with that mindset of like, all right, we're doing this. But anyway, just like, I think I personally think that like it's okay, if someone wants to be like, I'm going to wait until I'm in a relationship.
Right.
That's fine. I'm not judging you. But I do think in general, virginity should be eliminated, to be fully honest with you. And just be gentle and have fun having sex and have sex with someone who respects you. Yeah.
Because, I again, tied to what we're talking about, it's like, I definitely think that virginity, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but in a way that it's been altered in a different way, like people take virginity as a way of, it's becoming a tool that people use to harm people, and it's becoming a tag that
it's a label.
It's a label, right? And which shouldn't be like that. But then also, again, like everyone has their own definitions, their own values on like who, what, when, how it should be done.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is important, but also it's not that important.
It's
Right.
So, I agree. Well said, Isabel.
Do you have any like final thoughts?
Just like sex is supposed to be fun, so make sure you're having fun. That's my general disclaimer.
Have fun. Be safe.
Be safe. Use protection. Please. For the love of God.
For the love of God, honestly. Use protection. we just turned into like a
I'm your mom now. Yeah,
it's okay. She won't. I hope she doesn't listen to
No, but for real, please use protection.
All right. I hope you all enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I mean, this was
so much fun.
Yeah, this was a really great discussion, and I definitely like explore a lot of thoughts that I haven't thought before I talked to you about it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and I hope it like inspired some of you all who is listening, and like hope you had a little fun. Listen to Isabel and Hannah oversharing our like personal life. Yeah, so thanks for being here, and again, be powerful and be the pussy you want to be. And I'll see you guys in the next episode real soon. Bye. Say bye, Hannah.
Bye.